Hi guys, so today I am going to be having a chat with the lovely Natalie from Hot Content. Hi.
Hello, Mel. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Thanks for agreeing to be interviewed today. So it's very informal. We're just literally going to have a chat because the audience that I'm trying to appeal to, similar to ourselves, mums that are in business, either full-time, part-time, or looking to get into it. And I'm just looking to offer them a little bit of inspiration from people's stories. So
Fantastic.
we're going to start off with a little bit about you. So if you tell me your name, full name,
Where you come
children,
from?
area, all that kind of jazz, and we'll just have a
Yeah,
chat. Okay?
brilliant. Yeah, so obviously I'm Natalie. So my business is called Hot Content. And I set up the business after I had my children. I've got a 4 and a 6-year-old. I had to think then. And I love it because it's very flexible. I can fit it around them. So I'm based from home. It's generally just me. If I need any help, I can outsource to other freelancers, but for the most part it's just me at home, which I absolutely love. And what I do is I help individuals and small businesses who are feeling overwhelmed about marketing the business online. So they may be overwhelmed by social media, they may want to start blogging but just don't know where to start, or they're doing it and they're not really sure they're doing it right. So whether it's through one-to-one training, whether it's through group workshops, online courses, or coaching, I sort of help people navigate the online maze, really. I'm based in Cumbria, a lovely, fairly rural part of the world, and that's about me, really. I got to meet you, didn't I, through one of the online marketing communities that we're a member of, and I find them a great sense of, great form of support. But yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up, really.
Cool. So what did you do prior to working for yourself? What's your background?
Completely unrelated. Before I had the children, I was in a state agency for about 10 years, which, I enjoyed, but my heart wasn't in it. And in fact, all I ever really wanted to do was have children. I was one of these people that from a really early age, it was all I ever wanted. I just wanted a cottage, a husband, and 3 children. I'm at 2, and I think that's enough for me now, actually.
I know that feeling.
Yeah. But I had no ambition before. That's all I wanted. And it was really strange because it was almost like as soon as I had the children, this other side of me came to the forefront, and I realized that there was another side to my personality and that I did have ambition and there was other things that I wanted to do. But it was almost like that urge needed satisfying before anything else could come up to the surface. And I mean, I absolutely love being a mum. But yeah, I've realised that there are so many other things that I want and can do as well.
This is so true. I mean, I find as you know, I've got 2 children as well, very similar ages to you.
Yeah.
I've got a 4 and a 7-year-old, and I find that a lot of my drive and motivation comes from my kids. Do you find that?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because well, a few reasons really. At the most basic level, financially, I have to be able to support. I mean, I'm lucky that my husband's got his own business, but I I do my job because I need to work and I need to earn money. But also, and particularly having a daughter, I want to be a strong role model for her. And I know that they've got so much potential already, even at such a young age, and I want to show them what's possible. So it's a huge driver. Yeah.
It's a lot of responsibility, isn't it, really? I mean, even just being a stay-at-home mom, I think you should replace that with work-at-home mom. You have all of the tasks that go with it, because I know that there's some people that have made the assumption that because I'm based from home that I'm watching Jeremy Kyle all day, or I've got my feet up, or I'm getting my nails done. My nails are disgraceful at the moment. But, it's not. I mean, even just doing the household or the day-to-day running of being a mom is a massive job in itself, not to mention then running your own business, because I find a lot of people, they see what you do on like social media, and we know what it's like. We show them the best, don't we have a tendency to show people the best of everything, yeah, but they don't see everything that goes on in the background, like the admin and everything else on top of being a mom. So So what kind of struggles do you feel that you face on a day-to-day basis, like trying to combine business and parenting all together?
Well, I tend to get myself into these situations where not only do I have a business and the children, but we're also renovating a house as well. So we are effectively living on the set of Grand Designs.
Oh God.
Yeah. So my tactic is to just give up on the cleaning. So do the bare minimum. Um, yeah, that is really difficult. But I just think if I was obsessed about everything being perfect, like the children's rooms being beautiful and really tidy and everything being lovely, then I would drive myself crackers. So I have to kind of just take a view on that. So I would say on the most basic level, that's one of the main challenges. I also work around the children in terms of their school hours. So at the moment, they don't go into any after school clubs or anything like that. So really, when I look at the hours I have, it feels like I work full time, and I do in my different roles, but really I'm probably only working, say, 20 hours a week or something like that, because I'm sort of working from 10 till probably 2:30. So it's a case of squeezing it all in. I can catch up in the evenings, and I tend to do stuff that I enjoy in the evenings or that don't take very much brain power. So I'd say that was the other challenge, is just fitting it in. And sometimes you'll be really into something work-wise and you'd be really in the swing of things, and you've got to break off to go and collect the children from school. And I find that really difficult sometimes, switching hats and getting your brain into a mum gear,
Yeah.
when you're so deep into your work. So there's definite pros and cons, but for me, I just think being able to pick the kids up from school, to take them every day, just means so much, because a lot of mums can't do that. So we can't have everything, can we? And I think that's the other thing. Somebody once said that to me, we can't have it all. And I think that's part of it, is getting your head around that, because I think we're almost have become conditioned to believe that we can have it all now. And I think that's why we get so upset, frustrated, and sometimes depressed, is because we don't understand why we haven't got it all. But it's difficult. I think it's just getting as much of a balance as you can across all of the different roles that you have to play, and it's not easy.
It certainly isn't. Everything that you're saying is resonating with me. I similar scenarios with myself, and also finding key points in the day where I actually feel focused enough to work, because I'm a bit of a night owl, but I actually find that I'm really productive first thing in the morning, like when everybody's asleep. When I'm awake, I'm on point, and that's probably when I do some of my best work.
Yeah.
I'll lose my flow once I know I've got to go and get the kids. I struggle to get back into it then, because it's like you were talking about switching hats. You have, you've got mum role, you've got business role, but then you've also got, like, we're both married, so it's trying to find time where you can just be you as well, and spend time with your partner. And I know that that's a bit of a struggle for me, but also I am in business with my partner. So we run a business together as well. So that kind of helps, because we get to spend time together, even though it's from a work perspective, But I agree in terms of the flexibility, the fact that, like, this morning I went and watched my daughter's assembly.
You can do that.
Exactly. So when I feel stressed and frustrated, I remind myself of that. But also, because my daughter's 7, I have to tell her as well, look, I know that mummy, because I work in the evenings, I physically go out to work in the evenings. I know that mummy's not here in the evenings, but I take you to school. I pick you up from school. I take you to after school activities. I'm here. And she's starting to understand a bit more now. She gets frustrated when I'm not here, but she's understanding that, it's give and take, isn't it? You have to make sacrifices. It's hard to teach your children about sacrifices at such a young age.
But it'll start sinking in, and it is a good lesson for them. And I think that's the other thing, when you've got children, and particularly when you've got young children, they do grow up so quickly. We've only got them for a certain length of time, and I think when you're ambitious and when you're quite a motivated person, like probably you and me are fairly similar in that respect, it's easy to kind of put so much pressure on yourself and want to do all of these different things. Sometimes I have to say to myself, look, you've potentially got, the rest of your life to run the business and to achieve what you want to achieve, but they will only be young for so long. So it's okay to take your foot off the pedal every now and again and just, I say just be a mum. It's not, is it? I think
it's massive.
Just making sure that we allow ourselves to put as much emphasis on that as we do running a business.
It's nice to be able to hear you say that, because like I say, a lot of what you're saying is resonating with me, because a lot of the time you're by yourself, even when you've got people around you. So even though my husband knows what I do, because he doesn't know the ins and outs of, like, because obviously I do a lot of content creation and mobile marketing, because he doesn't get it. He doesn't always get it. You know what I mean, right?
Exactly. I mean, I can't talk. I mean, my husband is so supportive. He would support me in whatever I want to do. I'm very, very lucky. But he doesn't understand what I do. He thinks I'm a web developer, Mel. He says, I think she develops websites. Okay, yeah. And same with my mum. I'm really close to my mum, but there's only so much kind of work related stuff I can talk to them about, because they just don't kind of get what I'm trying to do. So yeah, it's that's why it's so good to have relationships with people who do have their own businesses as well, because you kind of bounce off each other.
Absolutely. So would you say a lot of what I do, I network a lot online and offline? I think it's important to network offline as well.
I do,
obviously we can't really do that because we're 4 hours away from each other. But the joys of obviously Skype and Zoom and stuff, we can. Is networking a big part of what you do?
Yeah, I run a monthly, we were talking before and you were saying you did a similar thing, but I each month have a group of about 25 women. We get together and I run a workshop on a different form of online marketing, whether it's blogging or social media. And then there's time to network. So that's my kind of live face. And I tend to do that. I don't go to as many live networking events now that I've got my own, if that makes sense. And I would say 80% of it's probably done online, but I am maybe looking at shifting the balance a little bit there, because like you say, I think it is important to keep your eye on the kind of offline marketing all as well. But yeah, I mean, social media is huge in terms of the people that you get to meet. Just the things, like, I mean, I have a podcast, so it's like, if I didn't network online, I wouldn't get the guests for my podcast and things like that. So yeah, so it's a very big part really of what I do. Yeah.
So what tips would you give, and I'm going to ask if they could be generic so they're not stuck just with one industry, what tips would you give to someone who would either be aspiring to get into business for themselves, or they are at their infancy or stuck? What would your tips be for them to be able to move forward?
I think for me, the most valuable relationships I've formed online are the ones where people have started out as just we've been on each other's radar on social media, but then by being yourself, you kind of develop over time, and it does take time, you do develop a relationship and these people become friends. So I just think it's so important to be yourself, and I know that's a bit of a cliche now, this kind of authenticity and being human, but I think it's just remembering that, particularly on platforms like Facebook and Twitter, it is still social media, and it is still important to use it that way. And it's fine to be a bit vulnerable, and it's fine to be honest about how you're feeling and what struggles you're facing and all the rest of it. And there are other platforms, like we were talking about LinkedIn before, weren't we, where you can sort of target a different kind of audience, but I still think, being yourself is definitely the way forward. And in terms of networking, joining online communities, huge. Just surrounding yourself with people who are trying to achieve the same kind of things as you. You can learn so much from other people. Yeah.
I think that's great advice. I definitely try to be as authentic as I possibly can, because it then means that I don't have to feel the pressure of pretending to be something that I'm not. I think that counts for a lot.
Yeah, because we're on social media so much, and we're expected to be for our businesses, that you can't keep up a facade anyway. It will be exhausting. So,
True.
Yeah.
There's no point. So, where can people find you?
Well, the best place, I have a Facebook group called the Hot Content Marketing Group, and if you just type that into Facebook, anyone and everyone is welcome in there. People who they have their own businesses or even just work within businesses and they want to learn how to sort of better promote themselves and their businesses online. It's just a really nice community where people just share ideas, make suggestions and bounce things around. I'm on Twitter as Hot Content UK, and where else is the best place? And my website, hotcontent.co.uk as well. But yeah, the Facebook group is a good place to start, really. I'm in there on a daily basis.
Great. And you've got a podcast, haven't you?
I have, yes. New episode comes out every week on a Friday morning. And that's the Hot Content Marketing Podcast.
And where can people find that? Do they have to go onto your website for that?
You can go onto my website. There's a separate page for the podcast, or you can find it on iTunes or any of those platforms.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your time, Natalie. I really appreciate that.
Thank you, Mel. It was lovely to chat to you.
Yes, lovely to chat to you too. Take care.
See you later. Bye.
Bye-bye.